So, Pierce, how are you doing?
Are we actually starting?
I mean, might as well, because this is going to be quite a different episode, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, slightly different in format, but not really. Not to the viewer.
Alright, I mean, well, on the rare occasion, we, not just any book club, we choose different books, correlated to theme, but once in a while, we fall upon the same book, and we just so happen to try to take on this tome. This 985 epic called The Brothers Karamazov by Fyodor Dostoyevsky. Probably didn't pronounce that right,
Fyodor.
but also Fyodor.
Fyodor.
Yeah.
It's the same as the, yeah.
There's more where that's coming from.
Dostoyevsky. Yeah.
Yeah. And this book, what a massive undertaking this was. But, did you know this is probably the favorite book of Albert Einstein, your boy, Franz Kafka, Sigmund Freud, Haruki Murakami, Cormac McCarthy, and Virginia Woolf, and many, many others. And, let's just say that, we had a bit of it made me question myself as, how good of a reader am I? Am I dumb? Am I not reading things right? Who knows? But I'm Justin, your disheveled host of Not Just Any Book Club.
I'm Pierce, your co-host.
Yeah,
We
we're
are
both
co-hosts.
we're equal.
Yes.
We're equal.
Uh-huh.
And so as you can tell by our unenthused, a little bit confused or disoriented, discombobulated intro, I guess we're gonna spill the beans right now. We struggled with this book and perhaps may not have enjoyed it as much as many others did. But I personally don't have a bachelor's or a master's, let alone a PhD. Probably the other way to say that. In literature or anything, because this book defeated me. But we're gonna try to give you guys a quality episode, right? Pierce?
Yeah, I think you're being a little overly negative in the very beginning. But yeah, I mean, I didn't love my time with it, but what I will say about that before we go any further, I gotta qualify that blasphemy. I had to put down Crime and Punishment the first time I tried to pick it up too. And so maybe there's something with familiarity that I'm kind of missing in a book that's this this difficult, this dense. Maybe there's a familiarity that will help me as it helped me with Crime and Punishment, because the second time I picked up Crime and Punishment, I loved it. I enjoyed it. It was great.
Honestly,
but
I have Crime and Punishment on my shelf, and I also probably have the same story because I put it down pretty far in, so maybe I might give it another chance. Inspired by this, my failure to read this. Yeah. So how do you want to proceed on this lovely little episode? Because I think you're right. With this book being difficult, rewarding in a way that I may not be able to comprehend, but perhaps, yeah.
Well, my point was just that I think that we would have been fine, and I think even what I did pull out of my time with it is still somewhat rewarding, although I don't feel as rewarded as other people. I feel like one day each of us will probably come back to this book on our own time, not being forced into a deadline or a time constraint, and and we'll read it on our own time and enjoy it much more. And the familiarity with the characters and the setup will probably help as well.
Probably some guidance as well from many online resources could help with that too.
I think to start, we should probably talk about the characters. I know you struggled with character names for most of the book. I don't know if by the end you were
And I was able
more in
to,
tune with it.
yeah, I looked up a guide of or really refreshed myself on the Wikipedia page and just put names, the character traits, and was able to keep along that way. But honestly, yeah, we shouldn't do a plot summary because this is very much a
We can do
philosophy based.
a little overview of maybe some like major events later, but I think that the characters are the
Yeah, no,
biggest part.
this is a character driven novel, first and
Yeah.
foremost. So, um, all right, so we have the Karamazov family, um,
Mhm.
which are Fyodor, Fyodor. Oh my,
Fyodor.
yeah. Sorry for not being Russian. Fyodor, he's the basically he's a hedonist. He's the most elder of the family. I think he's the father actually. He is the father,
Is
and he he's a bit rambunctious, a bit of a wild card because I think the first couple pages like tell us that like he's like having an orgy. He's just inviting people over. He's just
well, and
yeah,
he's not just any hedonist. He is like the ultimate hedonist. Like he I can't remember exactly where in the book this is, but I remember there's a point where um the father is being described, and it's like it's talking about how he has plans essentially to use all of his money until he dies. Like he's just gonna like use as much of it as he can to um have as much pleasure as he can until he
mhm,
dies. He's planning on leaving as little of it as possible. He wants to use the much of it on himself as
yeah.
quickly as he can.
And I think I don't think gives any redeemable traits. Like I don't think there's any point in the book where it just shows his humanity. It's just beelining all the way through. Um, up until his death, he's just not a good guy.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Um, next,
He is the father of three sons.
yeah,
And he does have an
well, yeah,
illegitimate son. Yeah, technically a fourth.
four sons, and yeah, one illegitimate. Um, but yeah,
All
so
right.
the eldest son.
Uh, I
Hello.
think is that me? Yeah.
Yeah, the oldest son, Dmitri or Mitya. He is most like his father. He is a single offspring from his first marriage. Um, like he's his other brothers are all from different women, and he is the most like his father, and that kind of brings them into conflict as they both are kind of going after the same feelings, the same things. So Dmitri wants the money that his father has, and they both are interested in the same woman as well. So the them being alike kind of makes them butt heads, and neither of them are portrayed sympathetically very often.
Yeah. Kind of at the end. Perhaps we didn't get there yet.
Yes, very often is what
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Okay. I think his foil is Alexei or Alyosha.
Hmm.
Almost like a paragon in a way. I think he's the
Yeah,
youngest, right? Yeah, he's the most devout. He's very religious. I think he's a monk, or is Zozima was the
yeah.
monk?
He joined a
Oh yeah,
yeah, a parish or whatever. I don't remember what they call it in the
a
book.
monastery.
Yeah, a monastery is probably what
Yeah,
they would call it, I guess.
yeah,
Um, I would say he's more than a foil. He's kind of like the moral heart of the book.
yeah.
Um,
Paragon.
which is something I wanted to mention because I've often heard from people who love this book so much that like uh Dostoyevsky is like a truth seeker in writing this book, like these the
Yeah,
in not just this book but in all his writing. Like he obviously has things that he wants to cover, but I just did not expect such strong bias. Um, he very clearly. I mean, he very clearly has quite a strong bias towards religiosity, I would say.
Yeah, plenty of chapters are dedicated to it, especially with
Yeah.
I mean, not that these chapters are bad or anything, but let's just say that there's a part of the narrative where there's a 50-page fan fiction. No, it wasn't fan fiction. It was basically him just talking, recounting um this poem about Jesus being tempted by the devil or something like that.
hmm
It was very long.
The the
Which,
the one like very religious centered part that I remember not not having the best time with was when the father of the monastery was on his like deathbed or whatever, and he
oh,
was telling his like life story.
oh, that.
Yeah.
Yeah, classic literature will have its quirks like that, and that probably won't fly by in modern day stuff like that, for example. Um, yeah. But we are forgetting one son,
Well,
Ivan.
one legitimate son.
Yeah, one legitimate. Yeah.
Yeah. Ivan, I think so. Alexei, you said is the foil. I mean, if a character has a foil, then they are also the
Mhm,
foil to that other character. But I would position Alexei more as our main character, as much as there
mhm,
can be in this book.
mhm,
And Ivan is the foil to him. Um, he is another person who has pursuits that aren't just pleasure, that aren't just hedonism. Um, but his pursuits are not of God, of religiosity. It's of
mhm.
more of a scholarly nature.
Yeah.
He's like an intellectual,
Yeah.
essentially.
Everything's empirical, and I think he is atheistic, right? Is he the one that's basically recants against God, or was that someone else?
Um, I,
Don't remember.
he specifically uses the words like that he doesn't reject God, but he rejects like
Uh,
God's world or something.
Something like that, yes.
Yeah,
Man, take a better notes on this. Basic or God's will or something like that, because like everyone's free to
yeah,
do whatever they want, and God doesn't stop them. Something like that. Um,
yes. And I think Ivan is most where it comes in that people talk about Dostoevsky kind of being more of a truth seeker. He's not like
mhm,
pushing his own beliefs entirely. He's kind of trying to get to the root of some pretty essential truths through these characters. I think his biases shine through really strong still, regardless. But
yeah,
Ivan is
I-
kind of set up. Ivan is kind of set up as a genuine foil. He's genuinely positioning Ivan as an oppositional intellectual force who
mhm.
is he Ivan actually has a chance to speak his mind, and sometimes a lot of I would say like a good portion of the time he says things that at least make logical sense. Like he's not straw manning
Yeah,
the anti-religious intellectual necessarily.
yeah. He doesn't tip his fedora. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And now we get to the one illegitimate son, Smerdyakov. Yeah.
I would pronounce it
Um,
Smerdyakov, but I don't actually
Probably.
know.
Honestly,
I have no idea. Um, but regardless, yeah. So he's an illegitimate child. He's
I think of
typically.
a
Mhm.
homeless woman, right? And I think it was a homeless woman. I think she was deaf, I think. Something like
Mhm.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. But Um,
Yeah. I think he is very much like his father. And I think this is kind of a trope or an archetype of its day. Basically, if you have a child out of wedlock, they're almost always characterized as just being sinful or wrathful or just not very good. So I think that's kind of falling in line with that of the time. Um, so basically, he is actually the devil incarnate because while Fyodor Dostoyevsky, Karamazov, he just basically lives for pleasure and is just selfish. Smerdyakov is just actually almost the devil incarnate. Like he's just cruel and mean, and he has epilepsy, which they describe it as him having fainting spells. Um, and yeah, he's just mean. And he's the butler. He acts as kind of the butler to Fyodor, right?
yeah, basically, he like keeps him around as a worker, essentially.
Hmm. Yeah. So basically, he's just kind of witness to that. And I don't think he's has a claim to the money. Um,
Yeah, because he's illegitimate. Yep.
yeah.
And I would say probably um the shrewdness of him, his negative aspects all probably come from that. The fact that he's rumored to be a an illegitimate child and should have at least some claim to an inheritance, but does not.
Hmm. Um. All right, and then now we get to kind of the tertiary or secondary cast. Where
Hmm.
these players are. I mean, these characters are very important in the story. They're just not the main characters. We got Agrafina, Alexandrova, Svetlova, or Gushenka for
Yeah,
short.
Grushenka is the name you're gonna see like 99% of the time when she's in the book.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Basically, I think this is the woman that all the brothers lust for. I believe, except for Dimitri.
yes. Alexei. I remember there's the scene where, or the chapter where Alexei is there and he's like, I don't want to say he's like completely tempted by her. He seems to be a little bit. Um, but she's like leaving. Do you remember the chapter I'm talking about? She's like about to leave for um wherever she's going, the other city, or her like
Do not
arranged marriage or something.
remember.
You
Not
don't
remember. I
remember
can't.
this? Okay.
At least, yeah. Sorry,
I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, but it was a scene basically where if I remember correctly, Alexei was he was tempted by her, but he didn't really do anything. And then obviously she's the source of the main, I would say the main conflict in the book, outside of just one of
Mhm.
um, Fyodor Karamazov, the father, being kind of an ass. Um, the main conflict is the fact that the father and Dmitri both want Grushenka. They both would like
Yes.
to marry Grushenka.
Want her hand in
Um,
marriage.
yep.
Um. Now we got Katerina Ivanova Verkotev. Katya. Her name's Katya.
Yeah.
Um. This is Dimitri's fiance. Um. And I actually don't remember what. Hold on. I don't. Do you remember anything about her? I know that. That's all I know. Her being Dimitri's fiance.
Yeah.
Mm,
She she interacts with the characters a lot, but for like I remember seeing her name a lot, but she's I can't remember like that much about her, if I'm being honest.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
I know that she's kind of the victim here because Minya, I think,
yes,
leaves her or
he
basically,
wants to for
yeah,
Grushenka.
yeah,
Um,
homewrecker.
Well, and then obviously, like, what happens as the story goes on. um, yeah,
Yeah.
the whole conflict and what it leads to, which we'll probably at least talk a little bit about. Um, and then we have Father Zozima,
He's
the elder
actually
from the monastery.
he's a really cool character. Actually, I really like this one. He's cool. I think he
I
is
mhm.
the this like the actual unambiguous religion is good because the chapters with him at least basically he's just shown to be a really good wise man. He's extremely intelligent. He's able to talk to people with compassion. Like there was that one chapter where this woman who recently murdered her child because out of desperation, and she was guilty about it. And so someone calms her down, and he's basically just saying, "Don't worry, God's ever infinite love will forgive you," or something like that. And I just felt my heartstrings. That's one of the few chapters where I felt like, yeah, I really liked it. I was like, that was one of the few moments of clarity where I was like, I think this could be the best book of all time. Don't last long, but Zozima, everything with him, I really liked. Um,
Mhm.
he's just very clear and very awesome. Go Zozima.
Yeah. And then there's I mean, I'll mention him just because I've seen some articles and different stuff online mention him. Ilyusha, he's a local schoolboy. He's in kind of an important subplot, which I don't think we'll talk too much about. I don't have that much to say about it right now.
Yeah,
Maybe
is
maybe
he
maybe on that second read, I'll be like, oh my god,
yeah,
this subplot.
30 years from now?
I don't know if it'll take me 30 years to come back to it, but whenever that is,
Yeah. Isn't that the guy that bites Alexi's finger or something, right? Or is it
I
someone
think
else?
so. I think so. Very dense. We really um if we do a book this dense again, if I mean to anyone who's still listening, we will probably make it a different monthly show and divide it up into sections, and then do our this show as normal with books that aren't quite so dense. Because reading this over the course of 1 month it felt like I was rushing at all
Yeah.
times.
And we made a pact here not to well, not to like just completely not read it and just like look up the rest on Spark Notes. No, we actually read this page by page.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Um so I think those are all the major characters unless you want to talk about Kolkolov or Lise or Lies.
Yeah, yeah, and I would say like most of the other characters are important for very specific scenes, but don't hold their importance for the entirety of the book. Like
Yeah.
Grushenka I would call her a secondary character, but she's important the entire book.
Yeah.
Um, Katerina Ivanovna, same thing. Father Zozima, even though he's not in a lot of the book, I would say him as a source of
Inspiration.
inspiration and morality for Alyosha retains importance, even though he's not specifically mentioned throughout the whole book, like
Mm.
those other two. Um, yeah, I
Yeah,
think those are all the characters we need to talk about, unless we're going to talk about a
exactly. Yeah.
specific thing that another character's in.
Yeah. So, all right. This is the thing we're all a little kind of waiting for, but also kind of scared. The plot.
Mhm.
Um, because again, we said this at the beginning, but this book, it's not exactly a very plot heavy book. It's a philosophy book first,
Yes.
a novel second is how we both kind of described it. Because the inciting incident doesn't happen until like 500 pages in. I would say at least what it says on the back of our Penguin Classics edition cover, where it's like the murder of a wealthy landlord that doesn't come in until like half the book or something. So
Yeah. I
it's
mean,
kind of the
so
point.
there's foreshadowing to it. Like there's
Mhm.
they foreshadow Dimitri's kind of more violent tendencies Because it's pretty early on in the book, a few hundred pages in maybe, he like hits his dad on the head because he thinks that Grushenka is like nearby, and that his dad is gonna go see her, and he's keeping that secret from him or something. So we kind of get to see, like, it doesn't come out of nowhere. We get to see this the major event foreshadowed fairly early on. Man, I hope.
Yeah, the plot. All right, so book one. This is just an introduction to the Karamazov family, right?
Mhm.
I don't think anything major happens. It just goes. It introduces everyone, which we did. All right. So if you listen to the first part of this podcast, you essentially get the first book. This is divided into 12 books. I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're kicking ourselves for this, but the idea I had like way after reading this, like, oh, there are 12 books in here. There are 12 months in a year. We could have done something with that.
Yeah. And if we thought, if we thought something was shorter, or like two books were like reasonable, we could have combined some months and done it in less than a year. But alas.
Alas. Yeah. Well, this book was called A Nice Little Family. Yeah, basically it's just I think the only significant thing that happens here plot wise is Alexei becomes um devoted as an elder at the local monastery, right? Um
Mhm.
and this is what introduces us into the next part of book two, where he starts to meet the elder Zozima. And I think this is where the chapter, my kind of personal favorite chapter, at least you can read on your own. It's just Zozima acts awesome. And he kind of acts as I'm reading straight from the Wikipedia here, but like he kind of gets in between Dimitri and the father and the inheritance and everything about that. Um, and I think that they have this in the monastery. Why did they have it in the monastery again? It's because they're
Why
related.
did they have what at the monastery?
They had like a dispute about the inheritance at the monastery.
I thought
Don't
it was
remember.
because it was because the father had a particular um or maybe that's just why he wanted to bring him home. Um like the father for some reason takes a particular liking to Alexei,
Mhm.
Alyosha, which I found to be interesting considering he is a hedonist. It's almost like he um loves the idea that something good actually came from him. And that's why he likes Alyosha in particular, because there is a yearning for that kind of moral
Mhm.
goodness um, that he seems unable or unwilling to commit himself to. Anyways,
Yeah.
um, I thought that had something to do with it, if I'm remembering correctly. Um,
Um.
but
Sure.
maybe I'm wrong.
We could roll along with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah. But Fyodor is kind of rude. I think he kind of just starts acting out in front of Zosima. I think he even kind of insults the religion as well. Basically, it's kind of ironic that it's taking place in here because he isn't acting very cordial at all. He's just or how you would be expected to act at a religious the house of God, I guess. Um, he just acts very rude, and it's typical Fyodor. He has no respect for the rules. He just does whatever. So yeah, I think that was just to establish that there's an inheritance dispute.
Hmm. Hmm.
As you can tell, this book is pretty slow paced.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember I was trying to read this on the train in Germany, and I was like, it was rough. It was a little rough on the train. It was a bad idea.
All right. Book 3, Sensualists. So I think this one, straight from the Wikipedia, it just says that this establishes the love triangle between um Fyodor, Dmitri, and Grushenka. So, as we said before, Grushenka, she's got the looks. Everybody's pining after her. And basically, I think this is where Dmitri has a really long conversation with her. As in the fact that he is perhaps a little bit violent because I think that he bursts into his father's house and starts beating him or something like that. This is what you're talking about. Beats him on the head.
Yes, he beats him on the head. I remember. Yeah.
I was like, oh man,
Um,
this is where it's gonna happen. This is where we're gonna kill him. Nope.
yeah. He threatens to kill him, but
Yeah. He backs out.
book 4 is I would say the major thing is in that a the side story is introduced with
Yeah.
Ilyusha and the school children.
Yeah.
Um Alyosha, Alexei, he offers to help a family who was they face hardships in part because of Dimitri's actions and his violence, which
Hmm.
that's part of the reason that side thing is subplot
Yeah.
words is important because it further foreshadows Dimitri's violent tendencies. Um, and
I think that was revealed at that moment. I think before it was just
yeah,
like he helps, and then Alexei gets bitten by the guy's finger or the kid's finger, and he tries to help, and is like wondering, "Hey, why did you do that?" And then later on, we see how it kind of loops back towards
yeah. But either way,
it.
the that subplot is extremely important.
Yeah,
Uh, so
it was very
that's the
fun.
biggest thing from book 4, pretty sure.
Yeah.
Um, book 5, pro and contra.
Oh, this one.
This is a big philosophy chapter, big time religiosity philosophy. Um, and basically Ivan and Alyosha talk about their opinions on God, and this is where you were talking about the whole
Jesus Christ fan fiction.
the Jesus Christ fan fiction. Yeah. Um but yeah, they have a little bit of a discussion about
A little
God
bit.
in general, a little bit. Um and Ivan is basically like God sucks, and Alyosha disagrees pretty much. Those are the opinions. Or not God sucks, but like I don't believe in God's will or his message or his world or whatever.
Okay, to be
What
honest,
Ivan
I know this is
says.
probably the most famous chapter from this book, but
Hmm.
a lot of it just kind of went over my head because like, all right, there's a paragraph break in here somewhere, right? Right? Flip the page.
No,
Nothing.
absolutely
No.
not. Paragraph break. Never heard of her.
No. What is this written by Kafka? Yeah.
I did think that while I was reading. I was like, oh boy, Justin and his translated fiction that has no paragraph breaks.
No. Yeah.
He's definitely gonna mention this.
Guilty as charged. Yep. And I'm looking at the Wikipedia page, and apparently Alexei, after hearing the story, goes to kiss his brother Ivan on the mouth. So,
I
and
do not
Ivan,
remember that, to be honest.
this was no, yeah, this was actually the also important like epilogue to the story because after he tells the little story, he this is Ivan to say that, and then Ivan shuts with the delay, and then they basically just make up, not make out, they make up, about like this little schism, religious schism, whatever that meant. I don't know, but I
They're like,
remember,
we're brothers, and our religious beliefs shouldn't get in the way of that. Moi.
yeah,
It might be a cultural thing. That might be normal.
Oh, in Russia. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. Well, this is one of the few times I get to say sorry, Russia.
Sorry, Russians.
Yeah.
The next book was the one that I was talking about before, where the elder Zozima, he is kind of telling his life story. It reads a little bit different from the rest of the book because it's a dialogue, which kind of shows, I would say, Dostoyevsky's skill as a writer. The fact that he can pull that off. Um, I definitely a section I want to give another shot on a reread, but first time through, time constraints, rushing, didn't particularly like that section.
Yeah. But basically, yeah, it's why he became a monk. I think basically something happened towards the servant, and then you're just like, I don't remember even what happened here. But yeah, this was also like, oh, okay, after that one really long chapter, let's hope that this or this book eases it up.
Mhm.
No, it didn't.
No.
No.
Yeah. I would say the major thing I'll mention, Zozima kind of expresses a person's responsibility for the sins of the people around them. In that, I guess I don't know. I guess you should try and try and stop sin from happening. I guess I don't know.
If you can.
Yeah, as much as you can.
Yep.
Um,
This one, book 7, titled Alyosha. So this one, I think this is the one that starts a religious crisis in Alexei. Basically, um, Elder Zosima dies, and everyone starts making fun of the body because I think they're expecting a miracle, and like his body not decomposing, and everyone starts mocking it because it smells. Wow! Spoiler alert: bodies
yeah,
smell bad when they're dead.
yeah. It's there's a specific, like, if you're a holy person and you go to heaven, your body is supposed to decay a certain way, leaving the bones white, I want to say, or something.
Yeah,
And then if you're not holy, your body decays the normal way, the gross way,
the way of
or
peasants.
something like that. Yeah, the way of uh
Yeah,
uneducated in the
yeah,
ways
the
of,
commoners.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and Zosima, even though he's a paragon, as Shakespeare would say it, death is the great equalizer. We all decompose, we all die one day, and yeah, and that's what happened. Alas, poor Yorick.
oh, and this
Uh,
is the book in that the section that the thing I was talking about is in, where he meets with Grushenka, and there's a moment of weakness where he's tempted. Um, but that's right. It's like right at the end of the section. He goes, and he's tempted, but there's something about the interaction with her where he's like, but actually Christianity was right all along, or something. And he gets a renewed, like, religious vigor, basically, from this meeting with Grushenka where he was tempted.
yep. And I think he starts talking with someone Rakitin. Basically, he just becomes It looks like he's about to lose faith in religion.
Yeah,
But
that he goes to Grushenka's with that guy. I'm pretty sure Rakitin.
oh yeah, that is true. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, and then rebounds and everything. That is true. All right. So yeah, I see. Was tempted, but I'm still religious. Go religion. Book number 8, Mitya. So, um, this is where we start to really wind. Yeah. So the money. Um, Dimitri really wants some money. The money is, I guess I get to say it, is a MacGuffin here. Everyone wants this money. So Dimitri really wants the inheritance so he can run off with Grushenka. But Katerina Ivanova refuses to even loan him money. Was Katerina the Oh, yeah, the Katerina was the fiance of Tree. Duh. That's why
Yeah.
there's schism right there. Yeah. Um. So basically, Tree obviously for good reason now refuses. Um, and I think he gets really desperate for money. And it all just fails. And I think he goes to his aunt or someone that promises him you will be able to work for get this 3,000 rubles, but only if you work in a gold mine. And he just says no.
Hmm.
And, and I think he's insulted by that. So basically he goes home drunk, I think, and he this is where his father is at. He grabs a pestle in his hand. Um, I don't know where he got this pestle from, but he gets it. He's drunk, and or he's just very erratic because he's of how angry he is, and he's and then I think witnesses just see him running away from his father's property. The servant Gregory tries to stop him because Fyodor Dostoyevsky, no, Karamazov, he's dead.
Yep. Yeah.
And everyone, seeing Dmitri run, they think that Dmitri murdered him, and they say it's parricide. Um, and I
Yeah.
think
He's running away from the scene of a crime that he doesn't know
nay,
is there.
doesn't
um. So yeah. Uh.
Oh,
He he
and
he he basically he pays for a bunch of food and wine and an orgy, a huge party, and he goes to Grushenka's because he finds out that she's betrothed. Um, basically, her former betrothed she's like gonna marry him, again, or she's planning on it.
you also forgot.
Basically.
We both forgot this very important part. So basically, Gregory, the servant, tries to stop him from running, and Dmitri hits him in the head
Oh
with
yeah.
a. So, yeah, kind of a big part because he also killed someone on the way out.
Yeah, yeah, I guess
That's
that's
a
true.
autograph. Yeah.
Um. Well, anyway, so he brings this orgy to Grushenka's, and he, I, d- I believe he's planning on like killing himself. Um,
Yeah.
because he can't have Grushenka. He wants Grushenka so
No.
bad.
Yeah.
Um,
Not that I just murdered two people. Or
yeah,
no, one person.
could it also perhaps be like,
Guilt, maybe?
I was thinking more like, is Dostoevsky predicting like the young
That
boy who like tries to manipulate girls by saying that he's gonna like kill himself, basically.
oh, he's one of those guys.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Because he's gonna kill himself because of he says it's because of the or it seems to be because of the fact that he can't have her, right?
Hmm.
That's kind of a joke. I don't actually think that he's Dostoevsky is doing that, but yeah,
Someone
it
could
is
interpret it.
yeah, somebody could interpret it that way, and it also is quite man, dude is defining himself by the fact that another woman won't get with him when he is currently married.
How
Which,
could she?
by the way, Katerina is actually a really nice, from what I remember. She's
Yeah.
quite nice, although
At
she
least there's no
does.
reason for her to be cheated. Yeah.
Yeah, well, she does really like Ivan, but she's like too loyal or something.
Yeah, no, because it's almost a point of self-flagellation. Like she's basically going, "I'm gonna make him feel guilty by even being more loyal."
Mm.
Um, if there's any woman listening to this, nah, if he cheats, he's a cheater. Yeah,
Especially the lengths that Dimitri goes to in the book. Like, he does not care about you. Get out of there. Oop.
he just
Sorry
slapped
about
his
that.
microphone of anger.
I dropped my microphone. My bad. Um,
He's just-
Yeah, please get out of there if he's going to the lengths of Dmitri in this book. He does not care about you. Stop caring about him.
That slap on the mic was for Mitya.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, so and then Grushenka basically says that she really is in love with him, and then they're making plans, and then he gets arrested for the murder of his father. Dun, dun, dun. Oh my god.
The inciting incident.
Yeah. Book 8 of 12. There it is, the inciting incident.
Yeah.
Book 9 is basically details about the murder and the investigation to
Big
this
genre
point.
shift.
Yeah.
You want us to recount all this? Probably not. I mean, there's overlapping evidence. I think it's like some stuff we haven't seen. This is basically Rashomon. I don't know if you're even aware of what Rashomon's about, but the movie. I know I'm going movies here. I know it's heresy, but basically, they talk about differing viewpoints about the same story, and
Mhm.
sometimes the information overlaps, sometimes it doesn't. So you're just hearing some bits and pieces, and you're trying to piecemeal it together. And in theory, that's very interesting, but it
Doesn't always work perfectly, but I think it worked okay here.
it was too much.
It probably, yeah. Like
Yeah.
the thing is with a book this long though, like would removing this book really fix
Yeah.
the density? No, I don't think so.
No.
So
Also,
it's like,
yeah.
or I wouldn't say fix. Density is something to. It's not necessarily something always fixed because it's dense on purpose. But regardless, anyways, that's basically what that book is about. The whole thing.
But yeah, but the thing is, it's very damning towards Dimitri. Like
Yes.
everybody is like, yeah, Dimitri totally did it.
Yeah. Maybe you
yeah.
shouldn't have been running away from your fathers and then kill someone on the way out.
Yeah. Yeah, and he gets charged with murder, and then he gets put away in prison for trial.
Mhm.
And I think Gregory was basically the only people in the house were Gregory and Smirniakov, who suspiciously was out very conveniently because of a seizure that he had at that very moment. I wonder if that will be important later.
Okay. um True.
Yeah.
The next chapter is more like schoolboy subplot basically.
Yeah. Yeah. This does come back in the epilogue, but this this yeah, from book 4. Remember that, guys? Book 4 with the finger biter.
Yeah,
I think.
the I got ahead of myself and described the like father who's put into hard times by Dimitri. I think I
Yeah.
got ahead of myself. I don't know.
I don't know who, who
Remember
can keep
that?
track of it.
Remember that? We're back. We're back with the school children, but this time it's with someone that the finger biter looks up to, Kolya.
Who is
Kolya is kind of
brilliant? Yeah.
he's like a Western. He wants Russia to be more Western. He's
Yeah.
atheist. He's socialist, and he loves Europe. European first, Russian second. And he basically satirizes people who want to westernize Russia by making it a child who doesn't really understand anything.
That is
And I
clever.
believe, yeah, I I don't know if it's really that clever, but I don't know. Young people can have opinions and understand certain things, but regardless, yeah.
Yeah. Um, I mean, I kind of remember stuff from this, kind of not. Um, because I was like, "Well, what's gonna happen next?" And then we just like, kind of flashback, or not even flashback. It's just like we just go to a completely separate story. I mean, there
Yeah,
was a time skip in between book
don't
4.
worry about the guy who just got arrested. We're not talking about him anymore. We've moved on to this school child subplot.
that's a
So
nihilist. Yeah,
get on board or like
yeah.
get out.
Kalia was the predecessor to all Redditors,
Oh
and
my god.
yeah, I want.
Stop
All
putting a
right,
fedora on this Russian child.
I no, I thought he had a cowboy hat, and because like he wanted to westernize
Oh
everyone.
my god. That's only Western by American standards. Come on, Jeff.
Hey, come on, come on.
Western by European standards means like no dentist offices and like beans on toast. Okay.
Okay, book 11.
sorry,
Now we're going.
sorry, British people. Not
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, book 11. I think we go way back to what we've really cared about. Ivan. Who's Ivan, you ask? I kind of forgot already. Ivan is the good guy. Or is he the?
Ivan is the intellectual.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah. Oh, my favorite character, totally. The one that kind of the Jesus Christ fanfiction guy. Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
All right. So he meets this time. He meets with Smirdyakov 3 times, and you get to really see his personality. Um, basically, because he knows in his heart that Mitya is just not guilty. Of course he's not. Even though he's very violent, but I'm guessing I don't know if it's a brotherly bond or he actually had some evidence, or noticed some evidence wasn't matching up. But he was able to figure out that somehow it was possibly Smirdyakov. He meets him 3 times. The first time, he kind of admits to it. The second time, he toys with him, and then the third time, he does actually just confesses that, "Yeah, I faked the seizure. I murdered your father, and I stole the money." And, which he shows to Ivan. He shows Ivan the 3,000 rubles or the 1,500 rubles? They kept on changing the number. They said 3,000, 1,500. Who knows? Um, so, yeah. Um, after this, Smerdyakov, basically, he doesn't believe it's like, "What? Ivan, you couldn't figure it out?" And, after that, he just kinda claims that, that Ivan was even complicit in the murder by telling that, Murdyakov the exact time and location that he would be leaving,
Yep.
and basically, he's trying to imply guilt in him. And then I think they go on another philosophical tirade and diatribe about religion, and goes like, "Everything is permitted if God doesn't exist," or something like that. And then, in my translation, it says that he had a dream, right? Ivan had a dream about meeting the devil and something like that. He basically
Yeah.
just
What I read online after reading that is that it can also be seen more of as like a vision than that. Like not really a dream, but
mm,
more of like a vision. But yeah. I mean I have the same translation as you, so I know what you're talking about.
yeah. I think
Um,
they actually called that chapter a nightmare, right? I
do they?
think. I think. Oh yeah, chapter 9 of book 11, the
Well,
devil,
cause
Ivan
cause
Fyodor, just nightmare.
yeah. Well, cause doesn't Alyosha like come in and he's like Ivan is like delirious basically.
Yeah, I think he's just overwrought with guilt.
Like he like comes in and like the devil like goes away or whatever.
Something like that. I
I don't know.
but
Maybe it is
yeah,
a nightmare. Maybe I'm putting things together wrong in my head.
yeah. And then, I think Alexei kind of wakes him up, and tells him that Smirnyakov has hanged himself. Why did he do this? I, I don't know. Generally speaking, like even after finishing this book, I don't know why he killed himself. Because I know that he basically, it wasn't about the money; it was about sending a message.
Mhm.
Because basically, he really wanted Mitya to be hanged for it, essentially. But Ivan is very distraught, and basically, even this doesn't even bring him relief. Guys, I still think he just feels very very guilty about it. I don't know. But yeah, he's not a very sympathetic character. So I mean, yeah, he was just very rude throughout the entire thing, and he's evil. I don't know. All right, and the very last, well, the penultimate book, book 12, the one before the epilogue. This is now the trial of Mitya.
Yep.
Um, apparently this is satirized. I don't know, it's a satire. um,
Yeah, I
but
mean, it can just be. I mean, it's. I don't know how overtly satirical it is of something else, but it is. You know, I would say it's. I mean, I would say that's accurate. That it's like satirizing the judicial process,
oh,
the way that people get sucked into the judicial process. Something I was reading earlier talks specifically about like the women who are drawn into like the love triangle.
mhm.
They love that. They're like, oh my gosh, like the drama of it, basically. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
okay. I could took that completely at face value. Okay. Um, but eventually, this is just Mitya's still doomed. The one piece of evidence, Smerdyakov explaining that he faked the epilepsy seizure. He really can't bring him back to court because he's dead, and everyone else kind of they try their best, but they really can't do it. Katerina, also now I think this is actually karma coming back. Actually, Katerina gives a very gives a testimony, and seeing that Ivan has gone mad, she passionately defends him and abandons her honorable approach to Dmitri. And there was, oh my, I think we even forgot this kind of. They mentioned this letter a lot, but they basically Katerina wrote a letter, and I think Alexei found it or something like that. It pops up periodically. Now it's at the end of the book, the trial. Oh no, this is a different letter. Hold on, my memory is just getting kind of hazy. Basically, she produces a letter.
turns out going through this book like beginning to end in one sitting is it's a little
It's a little bit
you get a
much.
little lost sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. So this letter was written by Dmitri saying that he would kill his father. I kind of forgot about the letter that whenever he wrote that. I don't know. But basically, this is definitely not my favorite chapter. Where basically the two lawyers talking back to back. Do I remember what they said? No, because it was like, oh my god, this is really long. They just keep on going and going, and then the prosecutor and the defendant, and then the Dmitri himself gives a very long, impassioned speech. But at the end, the closing remark is the fact that Dmitri is guilty. So
Yep.
some some gets framed. So now we get to the epilogue because I think they develop a plan to he doesn't go to prison, he gets exiled, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. To but basically they have a plan to kind of break him out of just this faraway place. Um and Alexei approves because everyone is kind of upset the fact that an innocent man is is about to be sentenced. Oh, well, already got sentenced, is doing time for a crime he did not commit. Um, but no one is willing really to help. Um, they plan to go to America, just to actually try to pay off the debt. Uh, no, not pay off the debt. They think that Russia, the motherland, has betrayed them. Wow, Russia doing something bad. I never thought that would be the case, but here we are.
Well, who knew? Who knew that could be a thing that could happen?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. Mitya begs Katerina to visit him in the hospital. because he's recovering from an illness. Um, I know, kind of yada 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 at the end.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but basically, I think this is the one where it's kind of the heart. Is that Ilyusha dies, and they have a funeral for him, and basically they listen to Alexei's speech, and Alexei just promises to remember everyone that was involved, and including the boys. And he implores. I think this is kind of the heart of the novel. It's like that, even though that the goings get tough, you got to keep these
The
happy memories
tough
among the
get
people.
going. No, I'm just,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah,
Keep going.
yeah. Basically, even though the world may be cruel, you want to create good memories so you can preserve these good memories when you need it.
Yeah,
Um,
and your connections with other people are um, important as well. Is
yeah,
yeah. Yes.
and then it ends.
Yep.
I- Oh yeah, but they also say that they'll cherish this memory forever or something. So it ends on a
Yeah.
very bittersweet note.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Bittersweet. Sweet in what he's saying to these kids, but also uh
Kind
but
of a
also
downer.
his entire family is in shambles. His like, his father is dead, his eldest brother is wrongfully imprisoned, his brother from the same mom is his only full brother is insane, kind of. He's delirious. It's not
Oh,
fixed by the end of the book. He's still like a little
yeah,
crazy from what I remember.
from the guilt, from the guilt.
Yeah. And then his unofficial brother. I know that's not how
Smirniakov.
it's typically put, but Smerdyakov, he killed
Dead.
himself too. So
Oh, well, he's also he's laughing from the grave.
yeah. Um, and so it's just kind
Eh,
of like, yeah, it's bittersweet. It's sweet in that Alyosha's kind of come out on the other side of this pretty well, I would say, like in terms of his like
Demeanor and
his
basically his
well-being,
outlook.
his moral well-being and his
Yeah,
outlook. But at the same time, his family is definitely in shambles.
yeah. Ivan did nothing wrong. I don't know what he did to deserve that. Right? Did Ivan do anything wrong?
Ivan basically, I would say that this is kind of where Dostoevsky's bias comes in.
Oh, an
Um,
atheist. Yeah.
yeah, he's an atheist and he's an intellectual who he doesn't, um, he
So,
doesn't believe in God's word and will.
so basically, the theme of this book is believe in God or else.
Or else. Um, do you have anything to say? Any specific scene? We've called attention to a couple specific scenes that we
I
liked
haven't
or
had
didn't
anything to
like.
say for the past 30 minutes.
Dog.
I mean, yeah, it does talk about faith and religion and, keeping
Yeah.
yeah, keeping that afloat. There's a lot of that. Am I equipped to actually say anything about it? Did I take good enough notes? Who do you think you're talking to?
Oh my god. So here's what I'll just say about the book in general. Um, don't be surprised if you read it the first time. You read it once and you don't love it, and then maybe sit with that for a while. That's what I'm gonna do, and so I'm
Yeah.
gonna recommend this to anyone else. Sit with that a while. That maybe you got some stuff out of the book, but not everything you were hoping for, and you know you were a little disappointed or whatever. Sit with that for a while, and then come back to it. That's what I'm gonna do. It's what I did with Crime and Punishment, and worked for Crime and Punishment. So I'm hoping it'll work for this. We'll see.
I hope it works out for you. I mean, I plan on doing the same. Probably gonna take a bit longer for my brain to bake up the words.
Yep.
I'm gonna try again, and not now, obviously,
Mhm.
not maybe
Mhm,
in
mhm,
5 years.
mhm, mhm.
No, you'll know it when you see it on my Goodreads.
Well,
What a note to end off on.
yeah, yeah. I recommend giving this book a try. And I will I guess
Yeah,
just finish off completely on that note.
yeah.
It
Nope.
is clearly extremely well written and well put together. And it's just a matter of, I think I personally might need a little familiarity with it before I really dive in a way that I'm going to
Mm,
enjoy it as much as I've heard other
absolutely.
people. So that's what I think it really comes down to for me. It's not a matter of, is this a good book? It is. It's well written,
Yeah.
well done, but it's more a matter of just, are you ready for it? Do you need a first read to prepare for the second read, which is the real one? Or are you able to jump in? Are you prepared mentally for it already? Um, so yeah.
Yeah. I think add copy and paste what Pierce said onto what I'm saying right now.
All right.
Um, yeah.
But yeah, to
Next
I
one,
guess to end that, next month is, are we subtitling it all, or are we just doing coming of age 2?
coming of age too. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're coming of age again. And we'll be watching the 400 Blows for bookend. So if you're interested in classic film, maybe give that one a watch before that episode comes out in a couple of weeks. Um and yeah, you can, if you enjoyed this episode, give us a like, rating, follow, subscribe, whatever it is on whatever platform. We're on all
Pretty
podcasting
much.
platforms and pretty
Yeah.
much and YouTube now.
Yes.
So, yep. And then you can find us on X for now. Um, I don't know what's going to happen with
Yeah.
Twitter/X. You can find us there as well as on TikTok at Not Just Any Pod. Um, and yeah,
Yeah. I think we might be on. We do have an Instagram. I don't know what we're gonna post on that, but it's there. I mean, I'm on Tumblr because I was like, why not? Why not? Why not cover all our bases? So we
Tumblr.
have everything covered.
We have everything.
Yeah.
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 And
Uh,
on that note, unless you have something to add first,
yeah. The only thing I've got to add is goodbye, Prometheus.
got him. Okay.
Got
There
it.
it is.